Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to do the fourth chapter of BEEHIVE, that is a truly beautiful mind. So before we read the chapter, I would like to ask you, what do you think as soon as you hear the word genius? The very first name which come to our mind is that of Albert Einstein. Now in this particular chapter, we are going to read about him who took the world by storm about 100 years ago. In the summer of 1905, the 26-year-old published in quick succession four groundbreaking papers. That papers were about light, the motion of particles, the electrodynamics of moving bodies, and energy. His work took up only a few pages in scientific journals, but changed forever our standing of space, time, and the entire cosmos, and transformed the name Einstein into a synonym for genius. 50 years after his death, still Albert Einstein's genius still reigns. So now let's start with the chapter. Before that, let's have a look about Einstein. Albert Einstein is hailed as the greatest scientist of the modern times. His surname is today synonymous of IQ. Albert Einstein was a German mathematician and physicist who developed the special and general theories of relativity. In 1921, he won the Nobel Prize for Physics for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. In the following decade, he immigrated to the US after being targeted by the German Nazi Party. His work also had a major impact on the development of atomic energy. In his later years, Einstein focused on unified field theory. With his passion for inquiry, Einstein is generally considered the most influential physicist of the 20th century. So here's the introduction to the chapter, that what you are going to do in the chapter. This chapter is about Albert Einstein. He was a great scientist. The title of the chapter, A Truly Beautiful Mind, refers to Albert Einstein. This is a short biography of his where some of his qualities have been highlighted. Albert's interest in mathematics and physics, and also his humanitarian attribute. The title, A Truly Beautiful Mind, makes one wonder that how can a scientist's mind be beautiful? It is so because in this lesson we come across another aspect of Einstein. He was a humanitarian. He advocated world peace, non-violence, and that is why the title refers to him as a truly beautiful mind. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879 in the German city of Ulm. He had no signs of greatness. That means when he was a small child, he didn't show any sign that he is destined to be a great personality in the future. His mother thought that he was a freak. She thought so because his head was larger than the normal children. For about 2.5 years he could not speak, and when he learned to speak, he uttered everything twice. He was rather boring for other children because he does not like to play the normal games or with the normal toys. He loved to play with the mechanical toys. And this is very obvious that when his sister was born, he asked his mother, where are her wheels? So he was too much into mechanical toys. So he played by himself much of the time. At school, his headmaster considered him stupid and good for nothing. He even told his father that no matter which profession Einstein chooses, he will never be a successful man. But he proved them all wrong. When he joined high school in Munich, where his family had moved he scored good marks in almost all the subjects. He did not feel at ease with the school regimentation. Regimentation means order or discipline taken to an extreme, and left it for good at the age of 15. Frequently, he was into the arguments with his teachers on any of the topic. He always used to clash with his teachers. He showed great interest in mathematics and physics. Later on, for higher education, he joined the university at Zurich. Professional life and works. After completing his education, Einstein worked as a teaching assistant, gave private tuitions, and finally became a technical expert at the patent office in Bern, where he was supposed to be assessing other people's invention. But actually, he was developing his own ideas. There, he secretly developed his own ideas, and all those ideas he used to keep in the drawer, desk drawer, and that's why he referred that desk drawer as Bureau of Theoretical Physics. In 1905, Einstein published his paper on special theory of relativity, followed by the world famous equation E is equal to mc square, where E stands for energy, m for mass, and c is equal to speed of light. And very in a very simple language, he has express that theory of relativity in your textbook. He says that when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes, and when you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity, which means that events that occur at the same time for one observer could occur at different times for another. In 1915, he rose to world fame after the publication of his journal Theory of Relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity. An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. His work was considered a scientific revolution. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1920. Einstein was attracted to a fellow student, Meliwa Merrick, equally intelligent and clever. So when he went for the further studies to Zurich, there he met a girl known as Meliwa Merrick, and she was equally intelligent and clever. And Einstein used to call her clever creature. So whom he wanted to marry after finishing his studies, without paying attention to his mother's opinion that Meliva was too old for him and too intelligent. She was 3 years older to Einstein, and her mother thought that it was too much. The pair got married in January 1903. They had two sons, but unfortunately the marriage did not survive and they divorced in 1919. It is said their marriage lasted for 16 years, and it is said that Meliva was a great physicist, and she wanted to work. She had a dream of working with a renowned scientist, and she too wants to become a renowned physicist, but ended up being a stay at home mother and a housewife. She became jealous of Einstein's success and notability, and due to this, they were frequently into arguments with each other, which led to the divorce. And the very same year, Einstein married to his cousin Elsa. Immigration to the US. Einstein immigrated to the United States when the Nazis came to power in Germany. When Germany discovered the principle of nuclear fission, Einstein wrote a letter to the American President Franklin Roosevelt about the dangers of atomic bomb. In 1945, when America dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Einstein was deeply hurt. He wrote a public missive to the United Nations proposing the formation of a world government, but it made no impact. Einstein spent his later days in politics advocating peace and democracy. He died in 1955 at the age of 76. He was celebrated as a visionary and a world citizen, as much as a scientific genius. That's why his this title is given, a truly beautiful mind. He was not only into the inventions and discoveries of science, but he also thought about the people, about the world peace, and he worked towards it during his later years. Now, few questions as homework is given here. Please do it in your fair notebook. And one more thing, children, I would like to ask you. Please, if you get time, though you have ample amount of time with you, please do watch the videos on how Einstein developed his theory of relativity, how much years it took, and what problems he faced while doing so. Even the movie on Einstein is also there, Genius Albert Einstein. If you get the time, please do watch. I'm pretty much sure that you are going to learn from that. And for today, that's it. Bye bye. Take care.